Welcome to Logical-NDE. My name is Emily, and it is my pleasure to narrate the near-death experiences of those who have seen the other side. If you are new to our channel, welcome. For our regular viewers, please sit back and enjoy today's episode. Today's story comes from James. He shares his near-death experience where he describes traveling through a tunnel in the form of an orb of light and engaging in a profound conversation with an angel about the reasons why souls choose to come to Earth. Let's delve into his experience. Recently, I discovered Logical-NDE's channel through a friend who sent me a link. This friend had heard me talk about my own NDE that occurred many years ago and noticed similarities that she wanted me to see. As I listened to not only the link she sent me but several others after that, it was as if hearing other people's experiences finally validated what I had spent decades trying to discredit. Just knowing that others have also visited the other side assured me that my experience was not just a dream, which was something I had always doubted. In fact, I was so convinced it was just a dream that I rarely shared it with anyone, except for a select few close friends, including the woman who sent me the link to Logical-NDE's channel. My near-death experience happened the day after my 30th birthday. My mother had passed away the day before, and since I had no siblings or close family members, I had to arrange her funeral myself. I was completely unprepared for how stressful it would be. My mother had raised me alone, which was taboo back in those days, and her parents had even suggested that she should give me up for adoption. However, she ran away, had me, and worked hard as a waitress to provide for me. When I turned 28, she was diagnosed with cancer, and when I was 30, she passed away. I spent the entire day of her funeral arrangements, and at night, I lay in bed worrying about how to pay for it all, and grieving her loss. As I lay down that night, crying myself to sleep, I fell into a deep slumber only to wake up later with an intense pain in my chest. I tried to make my way to the bathroom medicine cabinet to find something to ease the pain, but I fell to the floor and struggled to crawl back up to the bed. After losing consciousness, I awoke to find myself hovering above my body. As I gazed down at my lifeless form, I felt no attachment or sympathy towards it, realizing that our bodies are simply temporary vessels meant to eventually perish. Suddenly, a tunnel materialized in the air above the doorway that led to the bathroom, and I was drawn towards it, propelled forward at an increasing speed. Other tunnels began to converge with mine, and I saw that other glowing orbs like myself were also moving towards a distant light. I became acutely aware of the secrets of the universe, understanding advanced mathematics, science, and all of history. I knew that the light was my true home, where I had originated from before coming to Earth and where I would eventually return. All negative emotions and pain had been shed, replaced only by pure love that grew stronger as I approached the light. I was filled with love beyond measure, and it continued to grow until I reached the source, which I realized was not only the beginning but also eternity and infinity, beyond the concept of time. Time held no significance in this realm. The concept of time is a human construct, limited only to our existence on Earth, where we are finite and mortal. As I moved towards the light, I felt a strong connection to it and allowed more of my infinite self to merge with the light. It was then that I sensed the presence of a million other glowing orbs, all doing the same as I was. Suddenly, without any warning, I was pulled back from the light, and found myself in a vast, white room with no discernible boundaries, doors, or windows. In this place, time had no meaning, and I was not plagued by hunger or thirst. I found myself engaging in mathematical calculations, attempting to derive answers to every question under the sun. As I occupied myself in this way, an angel appeared before me, standing nearly 9 feet tall with broad shoulders and a white, flowing robe that was cinched at the waist by a golden belt. The angel smiled warmly at me and asked, "You again?" "What do you mean, me again?" The angel explained that I had been there before, in that very place, and had chosen to go back to Earth. I had no recollection of this, as I was forced to forget everything about this place when I made the decision to go to Earth the first time. Souls bound for Earth often make this choice because it is the most challenging of all the dimensions and universes, and upon their return, they can choose whether to retain or discard their memories of this place. Perplexed by this revelation, I asked the angel, "Why did I choose to go back?" The angel simply smiled and said, "You must have had your reasons. Perhaps you felt that there was still something left for you to accomplish on Earth, or maybe you were drawn back by the pull of your loved ones. Whatever the reason, you made a choice, and you will have to live with the consequences of that choice." As the angel spoke these words, I realized that I had a deeper understanding of life, death, and the nature of the universe. My experience in that white room had expanded my consciousness, allowing me to see the world in a whole new light, and while I still longed to be reunited with the light, I knew that I had made a choice, and that choice had led me down a path that was uniquely my own. The angel reminded me that I had the power of free will and that it was solely up to me to decide where to go and why. No soul is ever forced to leave the afterlife. However, he couldn't provide me with a reason for my decision to return to Earth, only that I had made the choice twice before. When I expressed my confusion and asked how I could make a choice without understanding my initial decision, the angel produced a contract that I had signed before coming to Earth. The document outlined the goals I had set for myself during my time on Earth, and I knew that I had failed to accomplish them all. As I looked at the contract, I began to remember my request to come to Earth and my vague request to return. I had chosen to return to Earth because I believed it would be easier to achieve my goals if I didn't remember my true home. It was like being a soldier, not wanting to go to war, but feeling a sense of honor in surviving the toughest place. I realized that I wanted to try again, but this time with the memory of my home still intact. When I awoke on the floor, I felt like my body didn't quite fit right. The chest pains were gone, but they were replaced with a profound sense of grief that was even stronger than my longing for my mother. I longed for the light as well. I sank into a deep depression that lasted for an unknown amount of time. I couldn't eat or sleep, and I could barely function. Eventually, the depression began to fade, but I still questioned whether what I had experienced was real. Over the years, I confided in friends to gauge their reactions. Some thought it was just a dream, while others suggested that I had hit my head when I fell and had hallucinated the entire experience. There was one friend I shared my experience with who believed it was a near-death experience. I was initially skeptical until she directed me to your channel. Now, I am convinced that what I witnessed was real, and it brings me comfort to know that my mother has moved on to such a beautiful place that awaits us all. While I wish I had undergone a life review during my own experience, I somewhat recall the tasks I have assigned myself in this life. Although they are personal obstacles that I prefer not to share with others, I have provided as many details as I can recall, even though my memories of the conversation with the angel are now decades old, and I may have paraphrased the wording. Thank you for allowing me to share my near-death experience on your channel. However, I ask that people be respectful and refrain from using disrespectful language or making dismissive comments. If you choose to believe that my experience was merely a dream, that is acceptable, but please refrain from saying that the absence of Jesus in my experience makes it invalid. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my experience with your audience. Stay blessed. Thanks for watching today's episode. Please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.